You know, it takes surprisingly little time to deforest an area that big. Like, I sat down for 40 minutes yesterday and I probably managed to ruin about 15 different ecosystems. Anyway, I'm doing all this because I need to dig a 1 million block hole here to replace the stronghold under the ground with a 5-phase building project requiring over 170,000 blocks to make an absolutely gigantic structure to decorate my end portal with. Obviously. Anyway, this lake is the first thing that has to go, so let's build some walls to help drain it out. Now to drain it out with sponges. Now I need to dry them out in the nether. And then rinse and repeat. You get it? Because it's rinse and it's because it's water. It's water.
So there is a huge underwater ravine here that I need to drain out, and I just tried using sponges on it and it just did not work, so I have to section this off using sand and then drain it out.
And once again, rinse and repeat. Now that I have completely destroyed the local ecosystems both above and below ground, I can completely flatten out this area in preparation for the TNT bomber. Now I just need to build the TNT bomber. Now I just need to take down this beacon and we should be good to go. Hopefully nothing else goes wrong.
Nothing beats a Jet 2 holiday.
That piece of TNT down there managed to blow up this slime block up here. I don't even know how that happens. They're like 8 blocks apart. That doesn't... Right, let's give this one more try. Right, I can break the obsidian protecting this end portal now. And with that, I have cleared out all the space I need for this build. Mostly. This hole reaches all the way down to y-5. Now, I actually need this build to sit at y-7 because the end portal is at a very specific location which I can't change because it's an end portal. So I need to shave off the top 2 layers of blocks by myself. I've gotten so rich by just destroying the environment. People should do this in real life. They'd make so much money. Right. Yeah, okay, that checks out. This section of the build is just a big cylinder with a fancy gradient which uses lots of black and teal blocks. Now you'll notice I have a significant lack of any of the items I need. Why do I have so many salads? Why do I just have a shulker box for the cactus? So I'm going to be building some farms, first of which is an ink farm, because I quite frankly don't want to keep going into the ocean and killing squid. Not because I feel bad for them, this farm's going to cause way more harm than I could ever do myself, but because I'm getting bored of it. Right, we now have a fully functional squid farm, so I now have plenty of ink. And yes, I did have to drain out an entire lake again. Now, as far as the 7,000 obsidian goes, I already have plenty because I removed the entire end dimension in the last video, and there's quite a lot of obsidian there. Anyway, next farm's a copper farm because I need copper and I don't want to go get copper myself. If you don't know how a copper farm works, basically it uses the zombie reinforcement mechanic, which means that if you injure one zombie, it will summon more of them, and then it drowns them, and then I kill them. All I need now, I just need one zombie to get into this farm and it should start working. Nope, no. Why is it just spiders? There we go. Come on, in you get. Come on, come on, come on. There we go. Right, he's in. This farm's already very loud. This thing is so loud. Oh my god. Right, I've turned my game sounds down to 10% because I can feel this thing rupturing my eardrums. Look at the way these guys are walking, bro. They're on a mission. Right, we've got one more farm left to build, which is a warped wood farm. Now, I have already built one of these, except it broke within the first 5 minutes of me using it, if you remember. So, let's take down this old farm and build a much better one. With these 3 farms built and the rest of the 80,000 items gathered, I'm good to go. Now to turn this concrete powder into concrete. Now I just need to fill in the corners because I dug a square-shaped hole and put a circle in there, which means there's some obvious gaps.
The circle.
The square hole.
So I'm going to attempt to fill these in with some natural-looking terrain. So I had a bunch of first-person footage of this, except it seems to have all just vanished and I cannot find it, so I'm going to do another quick time-lapse. Now we can finally move on to... You may have noticed there's a nearly 2-month time jump between phase 2 and phase 3, and that's because I was busy doing very important things with my time. But in the meantime, I was also designing the next phase of the project. It just took a while. Now, seeing the words Biome Rings might have you a little bit worried that I'm going to build a miniature version of every biome next to the end portal. No. While I like the idea, like a billion people have already done it. So instead, I'm going to build 2 huge rings in the air and build a bunch of custom biomes and reimagined versions of existing biomes to make it more interesting. And as per usual, I need a lot of stuff. 43,583 items to be precise. Now, usually this is where I'd put a resource gathering montage, except literally nothing on that list of items was actually interesting to get my hands on. It was either stuff I already had in storage or just grinding for things like netherrack. So I'm gonna skip straight to the building part. Right, no yapping, we're getting straight into the building. We've got 17 custom biomes to build. This is gonna be a long one, so strap in. For those of you who don't know what those mobs that I've been including are, they're from previous mob votes that never made it into the game, and I think they're really cool and I wanted to include them somehow. And I think it's a crime that they only add one of the 3 mobs in every year. The next biome is just my own version of Cascade Kingdom from Mario Odyssey. I wanted to make it known that I didn't think of this myself before Shigeru Miyamoto sues me into oblivion. I may have slightly lied earlier when I said there was nothing interesting that I had to gather. One of the biomes for the nether section is a golden forest, which requires 212 raw gold blocks. Now I can farm regular gold, but I can't farm raw gold, I have to get it myself. So I am going to mine some gold for a few hours. That should do it. Right, back to the building. see, these two builds are all well and good by themselves, but there's nothing that really ties them together as of right now. So I've designed a gigantic mystical obelisk with a fractured planet in the middle, which I'm going to place in this conveniently placed hole in the ground. It's almost as if I've been planning this. I also want to forge a path all the way to the top of the planet that you can climb without an elytra by traversing giant vines, mine shafts, and even through the branches of a giant tree. So apparently this skeleton was calculated into the schematic, so I'm going to make sure he has a place here. Alright, we'll give him some nice armor, and there we go. Now, if you didn't already know, you can break the indestructible end portal by growing a mushroom into it, because obviously. So that's what I'm doing here. Down by these rocks is where I like to imagine the penguin from last year's mob vote would spawn in. Anyway, I'm faced with yet another huge building stretch, so let's power through. Right, we're pretty much done with this entire thing. I just need to add tops to those pillars because they look flat and just unfinished, and then add some final touches that really brings the whole build together. First thing I need to do is replace all the quartz at the top of these pillars with diorite because the quartz is just way too bright for what I want to do with it. I also need lots of moss and cobblestone, and then finally some grass blocks. Right, I can get rid of the quartz now. Now to replace it with diorite, and then build up by a few layers. And then rinse and repeat 3 more times. Get it? Because it's a cool back to the. Right, it's time for the final thing that's going on this build, which is some huge vines that go from the outside to the inside to tie it all together. And for that I'm using a mix of jungle leaves and mangrove leaves, and also some glowstone so that you can actually see the vines. And just like that, this entire place is finished. Only took me 4 entire months. Now I just need a cool montage for this entire build. But I mean, who's got the time for them?